Hi, I'm Jacinta Coonahan and this is Coast Community News 5 at 5, March 26. Coming up this week, Central Coast flooding causes havoc. Rik Hart provides details on damaged infrastructure. 2 new COVID vaccine sites open. Paid beach parking progresses. And dancing is back. It's been another week of wild weather, from torrential rain to sunshine. Let's start with David, who will provide us with an update on how the Central Coast fared against the floods.
Yes, JC, thank God for the warm weather. It seems that no suburb escaped the flooding last week, with roofs collapsing at Erina Fair, for example, flooded lounge rooms in the entrance. Heavy downpour caused rivers to swell and roads to flood, and 55-kilometre-hour gusts of wind saw trees and debris cover the roads of the coast. Residents around the Tuggerah Lakes were affected the worst, with the bottom level of the houses near the entrance channel becoming fully submerged. And valley communities such as Yarramalong, Juralong and Gillaby affected by rising rivers and creeks. Over the 6-day period, the SES received thousands of calls region-wide, and more than 500 of these were in the Greater Gosford area. Other parts of New South Wales were harder hit than the Central Coast. The New South Wales government has called a state of emergency, which includes the Central Coast. This unlocks disaster relief funds for affected areas. Here's what Parliamentary Secretary for the Central Coast, Adam Crouch, had to say on this.
It opens up funding to both residents and businesses here on the Central Coast. And in addition to that, it also provides council with funding to repair vital infrastructure such as roads and bridges, etc., that may have been damaged. In addition to this, the state government has confirmed that we're waiving the waste levy. So it means that council obviously will not have to cover those costs. So again, what happens with floods, we've got a massive cleanup that happens post the event, which can take days. Obviously, furniture and things can be damaged that people now realise they can't reuse. That stuff ends up going to landfill and being waste. So again, by the state government waiving those fees, it means that those costs are not passed on to people who have already seen significant damage to their homes, etc. The last thing they need is to get extra costs when they're taking their ruined furniture and ruined household goods to the tip.
And we also spoke with Acting CEO Rik Hart, as you may have caught this earlier this week, and he details the extent of the damage to council assets.
Up till today, we've had about 326 road calls out. That's a very high number. It's probably higher than what we had back in February last year. We've got approximately 110 roads that are affected across the coast, and we've actually, at one point, we had about 93 roads closed. Now, some of those roads are reopening, and that's constantly changing as the weather patterns have changed. And certainly the levels of the lake and so on have been going down. We peaked at around 1.52 metres, which compares to a 1.67 metres in February last year.
Now let's head to Maisie, who has an update on the COVID vaccine rollout. Maisie.
2 new COVID-19 vaccine clinics have opened across the coast this week as the federal government starts to ramp up its rollout. The vaccine programme began at Gosford Hospital on Monday, with the first group of local health staff getting their first doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine. Coast and Country Primary Care was next, opening its doors today on the grounds of the EV Church in Erina. The centre is expected to be one of the largest vaccine clinics in Australia, providing over 1,500 vaccinations to locals each week. We spoke with member for Robertson, Lucy Wicks, and Coast and Country Primary Care's Executive Manager, David McLeod, about the vaccine.
It's a massive program. It's important to note that this vaccine is safe, it is effective, it is voluntary, although we are encouraging people to get vaccinated and to do so as part of the rolling program. And importantly, it is free. If you are part of the group 1B, older people, people with underlying health conditions and some other criteria.
So the COVID vaccine that we give out here, we're giving AstraZeneca. The reason that we have 2 doses is the first time we get a weaker immunity or immune response to that vaccine, and the second time we get a much stronger immune response to the vaccine. That way, when people do come across or catch COVID, the symptoms are much milder and less severe. There are some side effects that are very similar to the side effects that you get when you get the influenza vaccine annually. So you can get side effects such as a light fever, some chills, a bit of a sore arm at the injection site there, and you may have a headache that may last for a couple of hours post the vaccination as well. Australian TGA, as well as the Australian Department of Health, constantly monitor the vaccines, and at this stage they haven't advised of any concerns. However, they do keep monitoring what's happening around the world, as well as what's happening here in Australia, and if they do have any concerns, they'll raise those concerns. One of the highlights of having our respiratory centre is that people do not require a Medicare card to actually make an appointment here, so we will see anyone Medicare card or no Medicare card through our centre.
Central Coast Council will look to introduce paid visitor parking at a range of beaches across the coast in a bid to introduce a new revenue stream. Council will now look for an external business to partner with to help develop the scheme before expressions of interests will be called. Many beachside suburbs will be considered, including Norah Head, Toowoomba, Wamberal, Ettalong, Terrigal and Patonga. Lakeside and other foreshore areas like Gosford Waterfront and Brisbane Water are also up for consideration. Here is what Administrator Dick Pearson said at the council meeting.
It is an emphasis on providing free parking to ratepayers. I will identify that will mean that non-rate paying residents will have to have some arrangement. In the northern beaches, where I'm familiar with again, they can go and apply for a permit, which they might pay $150 for a year. And if you do the calculations on your regular beaches, that's pretty cheap. And we'll obviously take measures to try and protect the residents who live that bit further away from the beach, who may all of a sudden have their streets impacted.
At-home aged care and disability service Trusted Home Care is putting out a call for more qualified staff as they start to take on more complex clients. We spoke with owner Karen Barrett and Michael Gibson about how much they have grown.
We've come a long way in a very short time. It's kind of surreal, but we put a lot of hard work and effort into it behind the scenes, so it hasn't come easy. It's a 24/7 job, but we feel as though we're going well and we're making a difference in the lives of a lot of clients now.
Now it's time for sport and weather with Hawk and Harry.
Thanks, JC. Plenty of football to report on this week, starting with a disappointing result for the Mariners down at Amy Park against Melbourne City. An early Jamie McLaren goal added number 8 to his tally against the Mariners from their past 4 encounters, and then a well-struck bouncer by Nathaniel Atkinson took out the game beyond the Mariners' reach. Looking forward, the boys in yellow will face Melbourne Victory back at Central Coast Stadium on Saturday evening at 7:10 p.m. In the lead-up, Mariners CEO Sean Mielecamp has announced a return to normal capacity for general admission.
Every match they've played this year has been such an important one. They've really treated it like life and death on every game. So it's really important that we make this a really big one. It's our first Saturday night in a long time. And it's the first opportunity in a long time that the whole community has had to really get behind the team now with good weather, with a good time slot, with no COVID regulations holding us back. Everyone can come to the game and feel safe, and we can really have a great crowd and really show everybody that the Mariners are back.
The Football Federation Australia Cup is also in full swing. For the Central Coast United Pirates, a 6-2 win against Scots FC Lions has progressed the National Premier League 3 team into round 4 of the National Knockout competition. Details to be announced by FFA soon. Here we see Pirates forward man Adam Woodbine completing his hat-trick after returning from time off during the pre-season. Now to Harry with the weather.
Thanks, Hawk. It's been a pretty wild week with heavy downpours at the start of the week, shifting to beautiful sunny weather over the last few days. The good news is that the wet weather looks like it'll be gone for the next few days, with a slightly cloudy and breezy weekend expected. Saturday looks like it's shaping up to be a nice day with partly cloudy skies and a very small chance of rain. The temperature is set to reach a high of 27 and a low of 16. Light winds are also expected throughout the day. Sunday will be slightly cooler and mostly sunny with a maximum temperature of 25 and a minimum of 16. There is also a 30% chance of rain later in the day. Light winds are also expected. The week ahead looks like it's shaping up to be a bit of a cloudy one, with a little bit more rain expected, although not nearly as much as we've seen over the last 7 days. Back to you, JC.
All of these stories and thousands more are available on our website, but also make sure you pick up a copy of this week's Coast Community News, Coast Community Chronicle and Pelican Post. Subscribe to all of our socials for updates during the week. And exciting news, dancing is back. As of Monday, March 29, 12:01 a.m, there will be no restrictions on dancing in pubs, nightclubs and weddings. Also, masks will not be compulsory on public transport, and as Hawk mentioned, stadiums are back to full capacity. To make sure we bring the best moves back to the dance floor, some of us here in the office thought we would brush up on some of our skills by taking a dance lesson from Nikki Webster. We hope you enjoy the video and have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
1, point and walk. Good. 2 more. We go to our hip and rock. 2, 3, ready to punch up to the sky, up to the sky. Over we go to the ceiling, and sprinkle that glitter.